Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about potatoes, white rice, white pasta, sugar, all the high glycemic stuff, basically stuff that is famous for making you fat, making you gain weight and do all sorts of crazy things. There are many claims behind all of these things that you shouldn't eat high glycemic foods when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to get healthy, because all those things, spike insulin and cause cancer and all those kinds of things. So we are going to exactly check, and see exactly what the reality behind all of these claims is, and make sure you watch until the end of the video. Because firstly you're going to get a lot of information, and secondly I want my audience retention time to increase. So make sure you watch it until the end, and yeah, that's it. Alright, so high glycemic foods. First we need to understand exactly what does a high glycemic food mean, exactly what is so different in all of these white foods that make them fattening and has all the claims behind them. Okay, so high glycemic foods just means foods that raise your blood sugar very fast. Okay, so say that you ate something, say that you ate a white potato. Say that you ate a white potato. Because of the lack of fiber in potato, it's going to basically spike your blood sugar very fast. Okay, it's going to be absorbed very fast in your bloodstream, and because of that your blood sugar is going to rise very fast. So whenever your blood sugar rises, in order to clear out that blood sugar, your insulin also rises along with it. Okay, so whenever blood sugar rises, your insulin also rises along with it. So the original story behind all of these foods making you fat was that whenever your insulin rises, whenever your blood sugar rises, whenever your insulin rises, it leads to something called insulin resistance, and this insulin resistance is the thing that makes you fat. Okay, this was the whole story behind not eating potatoes, white bread, white rice, and all of these things. But here is the thing: all of this basic story of insulin making you fat has been disproven by so many scientific studies. At this point there is really no point even talking about these things. Okay, so this is clearly established that glycemic index of food doesn't really have any effect on does not really have any effect on your weight gain, your fat gain, and all those kinds of things. Okay, however, having said all of those things, there is a small nuance to these things, and in my opinion, if you're trying to lose weight, we can make a good case that limiting these foods or avoiding these foods might help some of you in losing fat or losing weight. Okay, and here is the thing about that. Okay, so whenever, like I told you, whenever you eat these things, eat these foods, it rises your blood sugar. Okay, it raises your blood sugar. Whenever your blood sugar rises, it rises your insulin. Now, for some people, this happens, not with everyone, but definitely with some people. I have seen this with my eyes. It actually kind of happens with me too. So, if your insulin rises, it basically dips your blood sugar below normal levels. Okay, because insulin is the thing that clears out sugar from your blood. So, because insulin rises too much, it kind of clears out your blood sugar so much that it kind of dips below even normal. And whenever your blood sugar dips below normal, this kind of sends a signal to your brain that you don't have enough energy to run, to be alive. Okay, so this actually ravenously makes some people hungry, ravenously makes people crave sugary foods, fatty foods, junk foods, and things like that. And this is basically typically termed as the sugar crash. You must have heard about this. This definitely happens with some people. When people eat, say, like white rice, they eat it, and couple of hours later they get this really ravenously hungry, and because of that they go and eat more food. And if that more food is again high glycemic, then it again is going to raise their blood sugar and kind of going to dip it, and is going to again make them hungry. Okay, so for some people this thing happens, and this thing actually leads to overeating and this overeating is the thing then that makes them gain weight. It's not really insulin, it's not really insulin resistance, it's the overeating of food because of excessive hunger, because of the highs and lows of blood sugar. It makes them gain weight. Okay, but this doesn't happen with everyone. If you feel like you can eat white rice and you stay satiated, you don't get hungry after a while, after a couple of hours, then you can definitely go ahead and include some white rice in your meal. Okay, there is another nuance to this. Okay, just like I told you how spiked insulin can make your blood sugar crash. For some people who are really insulin resistant, the exact opposite thing can happen. Okay, not the exact opposite thing, but kind of the opposite thing. And that is whenever your blood sugar rises very very fast. In some people, it kind of stays like that for very long time before going down again. Okay, and the staying of this high blood sugar, this consistent high blood sugar is something that is really bad. It leads to insulin resistance, and it leads to all kinds of really really bad things, deteriorating your retina, your eyes. This is basically linked to all kinds of chronic diseases like diabetes, cancer, and all those kinds of things. Okay, so this basically happens in people who are very insulin resistant. The major sign of insulin resistance is basically having very high amounts of belly fat, especially belly fat. So if you have excessive amounts of belly fat, or if in general if you have excessive weight, then you're going to be insulin resistant to some extent. Okay, so because of these reasons, we can make a good case that avoiding these white foods can be beneficial or relatively helpful while you're trying to lose weight. So if you want to improve your health, if you want to decrease your risk of chronic diseases like diabetes, cancer, and heart disease and things like that, make sure you lower your body weight instead of focusing on the glycemic index of foods and things like that. And one last point that I would like to make here is we shouldn't really categorize foods into these black and white things like no, high glycemic foods are bad, low glycemic foods are good, and things like that. Because I can just simply write like brown bread here, okay, and I would choose potatoes on any day rather than going for brown bread or any kind of high fiber multigrain bread, okay, because see, nutrient quality of the food is something that matters a ton when we are talking about effects on your health and your body weight and things like that. Because potatoes, even though they are high glycemic index, they are one of the most weight loss friendly foods out there that you can eat when you're trying to lose weight. Because potatoes have the highest satiety index. Satiety index is basically the degree to which a certain food basically makes you feel full, and the degree to which a certain food makes you feel full for a long enough time. Okay, so when you eat potatoes, and by potatoes I mean baked bland potatoes, I don't mean like potato chips or mashed potatoes or something like that. I mean baked, bland, unsalted, unbuttered potatoes, like normal plain potatoes. If you eat them, you're going to feel very full in very short amount of time, and you're going to be satiated for and you're going to be satiated for a very very long time. Okay, so potatoes is one of the best foods you can eat for weight loss. But white bread, white bread and potatoes might have like the same glycemic index, maybe, I don't know, but white bread is, in my opinion, is something that you shouldn't really eat it every single day, because grains is something that are really nutritionally poor in like density, nutrient density, and all of those kinds of things. And there are some studies showing that they have really negative impacts on your body in terms of inflammation and things like that. We are not clear on this. I might be completely wrong with grains, and grains can be a good food to include in your diet every day. But nonetheless, white bread or any kind of bread is something that is processed, and it has been clearly proven by now that processed foods do have a negative impact on your health and your body weight. So you're better off avoiding things that are processed and things like that. White rice similarly has the same story. If you can fit white rice into your calories, and if you think that you don't feel any negative impact, if you don't actually feel any negative impact, then I think white rice is something that is safe and doesn't really have any negative impact. So what I'm trying to tell you here is you shouldn't really judge foods based on their glycemic index. Okay, I just wrote three foods here which are going to have completely different impact on your body. Okay, we should always the judge your foods, the quality of the foods by the degree of its processing and the degree of its nutrient availability. Like potatoes and all of these things are basically found in nature, and we're eating it like they are found in the nature. Okay, so that is something really good, and that is something that is really going to help you in weight loss. Similarly, white bread, white rice, you might include them in moderation, but you know you're better off limiting them, at least if not avoiding them, in my opinion. Okay, so yeah, that is it for this video. High glycemic foods, you don't need to worry about that at all. Eat your potatoes, eat your fruits, don't worry about it. Make sure you are focusing on the overall calories and overall quality and nutrient density of the diet. So yeah, so if you have liked this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you like this kind of content, then make sure you please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.